Hello and welcome to week 2 of our Chinese adventure. Chongqing put on a fantastic show last week. Can we match it this time round? We will find out very shortly live here in Nanjing. The capital city of China's Jiangsu province, and previously the capital of the whole country during several previous dynasties, Nanjing lies on the banks of the huge Yangtze River and is 300 kilometers west-northwest of Shanghai. Now with a population of over 8 million people, Nanjing is one of the 4 great ancient capitals of China and was, for much of the 15th century, the world's largest city, and traces of prehistoric settlements dating back 500,000 years have been found here. Nowadays, Nanjing is a sporting and cultural hub of Western China, being home to some of the country's best-known artists, not to mention a varied and interesting food scene and a bustling nightlife. In a very warm Nanjing, I have Andre alongside now. Now, Andre, we've just had a very good time trying to teach me how to pronounce your name. Why don't you do it?
Andrzej Mecherzyński Wiktor. Good morning, good afternoon or good evening. It depends on where are you in the world.
It's a very early start if you're watching us in Europe. And we've just been up on the stage and had a look at the boulders. What are your first impressions from what you've seen so far?
Well, it will be, in my opinion, extremely hard to do flashes among women. And among guys, among the men, I think that the round is very well balanced. The first one is, as route setters say, the easiest one, but it's slab, so it's always a surprise sometimes. The second and the third are more difficult, and the last would be, again, a little bit easier, if not the last move. The last move seems to be a little bit more difficult than the rest of the problem. I'm very interested in how they deal with it.
And how many tops do you think you will need to progress to the final for, say, the women and then the men?
Well, among the women, I think 2 in 2 can be enough, but you know, it's only predicting. In climbing, it's very hard to predict anything.
And in the men also, you think 2 tops, maybe 3 is enough for the final, from what you've seen?
Thinking of these problems, you know, I'm trying to imagine these people trying these moves, yes? To imagine young...
We think it will be between 2 and 3.
I suppose, similarly, yes, 2 in 2 maybe, it depends on the last move of the fourth one.
So much to figure out here in Nanjing this morning, but one thing's for sure, we've got a very dynamic and quite difficult-looking semi-final coming up. The routes for which were set by our very, very strong route-setting team, led by Matthias Wojcik.
Hi, my name is Matthias. I'm from Austria and I'm the chief route setter for this boulder competition in Nanjing. We've been working for 4 days now with a very cool team, together with Toma Oleksi from Poland, Hiroshi Okano from Japan, and a very cool Chinese team. Pino, Mazda, Feifei and Liu. Mood's been really good so far, and conditions a bit tricky with the heat, but so far it's really cool, and I hope it's going to be a nice competition. For a qualification round like this one, we sit down, try to look at the wall, and as it's 2 groups here, see which panel is the best for which group, and then decide on styles that we're going to use. In a case like this one with that roof, it's quite obvious that it's going to be quite a powerful boulder. When we do the plan and start setting, everyone works on his own for a while to try to set a certain idea, for example, and kind of have the boulder set and then start trying. And after a while we start setting together or trying together, and then probably resetting or agreeing that the boulder works or doesn't work, and doing the modifications, then trying again, resetting again. It's quite a long process sometimes. We arrive like one week, sometimes 6-5 days before the competition starts, and we have the whole week of route setting. what we do is when we're here, we started looking at wall, doing a plan for each round, meaning finals, semi-finals, and qualifiers. And usually we start with finals or semi-finals, and most of the time work just for one round, like for example starting on Monday with finals, setting all the finals, testing the finals, resetting, and if we're done with that, mark them on the wall. We put marks with a pen and take them off again, because in total in this case I think it's almost 36 problems that we have to set, so the wall would be too full. There wouldn't be enough space left to set all the problems at the same time. It's quite a lot of boulders that we have to set, and we have to get them fair. So yeah, today and tomorrow is still going to be a lot of work.
In front of us, which of these names jumps out in the men's competition? Who do you think will get on well with these boulders today?
Every single one of them is able. You know, it's quite interesting, by the way. Just a few years ago, there was a group of 35 maybe men who were able to make semis, and still maybe 20 guys who were able to make finals, and now we have maybe 50 guys, you know, strong enough to be in semis. And the rule is, being in semis, you have always a big chance, maybe not big, but you have always a chance for being in the final, yeah.
And we're just getting the women's start list up here. We can see there Maëlys Agrippa, France, uncharted territory for her, Boulder World Cup semi-final. Katja Kadic will be out next. Then we have Jane Kim, who we normally see in the lead competitions, back in bouldering this year for the first time since 2013. Further down the list, familiar names: Anna Sturr, Solsar, Fanny Gibert, the world champion Petra Klingler. And there in 11th, Janja Garnbret. She made it through, didn't look anything like as in control as she had in Chongqing just a week ago, but she made it. Then Michaela Tracy, the very familiar face of Akia Noguchi, and Miho Nanaka, of course, won multiple World Cups last year, not repeated that this year just yet. And Stasha, she's been in every final so far. Sierra Blair Coyle, fantastic day for her yesterday. Ditto Monica Recchi, and Megan Mascarena's back on form and outlast Shauna Coxey.
There's the Queenie's one.
And up next we'll have the men's start list for you. There we go, Riccardo Piazza of Italy. Also uncharted territory for him. First World Cup semi-final, Tyler Landman back in the semis. He wasn't in Chongqing. He'll be joined by his compatriot a bit further down there, Nathan Phillips. First semi of the year for him, made semis in Innsbruck and the World Championships in Paris last year. Kokoro Fuji, of course, runner-up in the Boulder World Cups overall last year. Jan Hoyer, used to seeing him at this level. Sakaru Hori and Alphonse Dornauer, rounding up the rest of the first 10 climbers. Remember, of course, the climbers do come in reverse order to how they qualified. If you qualify first, you climb last in the semi-finals. Further down, Sean McColl, first semi-final of the year for him. Yane Kruder, Jongwon Chon, last week's winner. David Fernenberg, he had a great day yesterday, and Sergei Topishko, I think we'll be discussing him later. Seems to have really hit form in 2017. Roland Rugens, of course, a finalist in Japan around this time last year. He's back at the top end of a semi-final, qualified second behind Tomoa Narasaki, who's his performance in Meiringen looking increasingly like a blip rather than a pattern. And there is our wall here in Nanjing. Climbers will compete on 4 boulders each, 4 for the men, 4 for the women.
Yeah, and we have the first problems on the edges. Yes, and the last problems just one next to the other.
We'll just have a look at the world rankings as well. Just a second, as Andre mentioned, the boulders for both the men and the women starting on the outside of the wall, men on the right, men on the far right, women on the far left, and then working their way into the middle.
So men and women will, climb walking towards each other.
And by the time they get to the boulder number 4, they'll be right next to each other. And we see there in the rankings, Shauna Coxey, 180 ranking points. That's a win and a second place. Janja Garnbret holding on to second with a win and a 6th place. Further down, Stasha, Miho, Petra. Katja Zauwein hasn't come to Asia, but her second place in Meiringen enough to keep her in the top 6. Kia Noguchi, Fanny Gilbert, Michaela Tracy and Solsar rounding out the top 10. And over in the men's competition, Alexei Rubtsov leads the way, not taking part in today's semi-final. Terrible day for him yesterday. Didn't get on with the boulders at all. And the first climber's already out on the wall, and you can see that is women's one. And it is a run rightwards.
Not a run yet.
The route setters you can see the four small bolt-on holes there that Maya-Lise was reaching for there. The route setters put them on so that the climbers were forced to run. It's so that they couldn't do it statically. Maya-Lise had a look at doing it statically, but those 4 bolt-on holes are there specifically to stop the climbers doing that. Here's Ricardo, one of the few climbers we see competing in glasses, but didn't hold him back yesterday.
So it seems to be, we didn't talk about it yet, but the men's semis are made out of 3 jumps. The first move on the first one, on the second and on the third are jumps or somehow dynamic moves, tricky dynamic moves. Route setters like such moves because they give them, tries. Losing tries, it makes results more clear.
Of course, the route setters, as well as putting on a God show, they're trying to achieve what they call separation, which is making sure we only have 6 finalists. The worst thing for a route setter is if you get 7 or 8 people with a tied score or a similar score and we end up with too many people in the final. So they want separation, hence moves like this, which could be quite high risk.
We said once in Poland, I did it, a Polish cup, and in semis there were only 2 guys with 1 top, and the rest had only bonuses, and the judge was very happy because Trice told him everything, and he thought, a very good run, guys, a really good result, no ex aequo place.
That's what the route setters are trying to achieve.
But the competitors were angry. Hops, hops, hops.
And that's by far the closest we've seen from Maya-Lise. Here on the men's one, Ricardo just trying that move. It's the best way, according to the route setters, is that black volume that he's currently cleaning. You need to slap it with the right hand and then the left joins it a split second later.
He isn't putting your right foot on the black volume.
Yeah, so it's the exact order, I guess, will depend on exactly how they do the move, but in theory it should be right hand, then right foot, left hand. We think that'll be about the sequence. We'll see.
One never knows. Sometimes it seems to be that hands should be first and the legs should be first. Hops, hops, hops. She was close now.
Now this is very promising. Now. Or don't use the left hand at all from Ricardo.
The third is much more important, I think.
I was just about to say, from Maya-Lise, that was by far the best attempt so far. You can really see how this move should be done. She didn't quite manage it, but that's certainly the correct beater. That's a horrible first hold on men's one. You were telling me you've used that volume before, and it's just a...
Well, generally, these volumes that route setters use here are quite strange, in a very, very strange way, slippery. And this particular one I really do not like.
Great shot there of the run from Maya-Lise.
We will have a lot of really nice replays here on the first girl's problem.
Yeah, it's a great angle. Whoever found that, well done to the camera person who spotted that angle. So 1 minute left. Climbers, I was saying earlier, will attempt 4 boulders each. It's 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So you can see the timer just below our logo on the top right of your screen. They get 5 minutes to attempt a boulder, 5 minute rest, and then the next boulder, and so on and so forth. So initially we start out with quite an empty stage, gradually fills up as the round progresses, and then we end up with an empty stage when it's just the last climbers on boulder 4. And Ricardo, it's not a very physical move, that first move. You could use a lot of tries here if you're not careful.
Such moves are usually intended for, testing athletes. It's rather an exam than a piece of, climbing.
So Maya-Lise, she's only got 5 seconds. This will only be for the bone. Oh no, she's going straight for the top. I wonder if we'll see that tried again. I thought she was going just to try and claim the bonus, stopping on the bonus, but she went straight for the top.
It seemed to be possible, especially for taller women.
So Katja Kadic is out now, as well as Tyler Landman. Tyler was just checking with the judges there if the right-hander ret is in play. It is. We checked with the route setters earlier. If there's an area of a boulder that you're not allowed to use, it's marked with black tape to mark the physical edge of the boulder, but there's no black tape on that men's one. The arete is allowed, and you need it. So Katja is going to try this statically.
And here we have a very interesting difference between men's and women's approachment to climbing, because every man in his first try would try to run, and most of girls will try to do it statically and just then run, seeing it is necessary.
So let's have a look at Tyler. This is another method altogether. Doesn't seem to like the look of the jump to the right using the foot at the same time. So Katja Kadic, women's one.
Oh, she was very close now.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting method. She never really seemed to run. She just seemed to controlled walk. That was a slightly slower
but
method.
You know, it is a way of doing such moves. The issue is not to run as fast as possible. The issue is not to lose a rhythm. No, you have to make these steps one after another and never stopping. Like pum 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 pum.
And that's really nicely done from Katja. So it's described to us as a run, but a nice balanced controlled walk. It's like the more promising technique. And she's going for quite a decent hole at the top, and there we go. Top number one of today's semi-final here in Nanjing. Katja Kadic takes it. Seen her more often in league competitions. No trouble so far on women's one in today's bouldering here in Nanjing. Tyler Landman, meanwhile, he's trying a completely different method. The route setters, from what we've seen, we're only admittedly 7 minutes into this semi-final, have done a great job today. We've seen different methods used on the starts of both boulders.
But more or less it is what is going on in the move. And you have to be very careful to keep your body on the left side of the volume, yes? When you start holding it, if your body goes too much to the right, the volume on which you have your foot doesn't work.
Very clever route setting. I think that's why the route setters thought that you would need to slap with the left hand to try and stop that happening, hey? But Tyler just went both hands on the right-hand side of the volume.
Hey, but it's also a matter of individual style of climbing. You know, Tomasz Oleksiu, who is one of the route setters, we talked with him about this problem. He does really like such moves, you know, that you make a move with one hand and you put another hand and push on a sloper or on a volume. But here you can, you know, you can make the same thing simply using your position and your right foot.
And that's exactly what Tyler did. So he'll make his way right now. So
he's looking for a crimp in the volume, look.
That's how strong.
Well, he has found it.
These climbers are. You can crimp the edge of the volume. There is some, you can see some silver tape around the bigger black volume that is right behind Ty's body, and that's so that the climbers couldn't use the edge of the volume or any of the indentations close to the wall. But that's not too far off the method for the second jump on this boulder. You need to jump and simultaneously place the right foot.
But look that it's quite similar to the first move, isn't it?
It is quite similar, yeah. It's a jump right and then immediately control it.
Yeah.
Tyler, I don't think we'll have another go. He's just having he's not having another go, he's just having another look, just wondering if he missed something. And Ricardo Piazza back out onto men's 2, and there on the left, Jane Kim. Viewers of lead World Cups will be very familiar with her. Recent viewers of Boulder World Cups less so.
And on the other side, we have the new face of this semi-final. It's Vadim Timonov from St. Petersburg, from Russia.
There we see it, so May-Elise back out. 5 minutes for her to figure out women's 2. So Jane Kim, we can see her there closest to the camera, bib number 122. She's a climber known for her very steady, static style. I don't know how well she'll get on with women's 1. Be interesting to keep an eye on that. So, Vadim Tominov straight into this one. So just to give you an idea what he's trying to figure out, he's got to jump to the right again. It's another jump, and that right-hand pink volume.
Not necessarily. He tried to control it as long as possible, and he controlled it a little bit too long.
It's one of the things that's great to watch on these boulders is that you can see the climbers, they don't want to risk too much, but you have to risk a bit. You have to go for it, but at the same time, you can't go for it too soon or you're nowhere near. It's such a fine balance to find how much to risk, when to go.
From such a problem, you can simply judge who feels really strong, because those who feel really strong will always try to do problems in their first try. It means they will not try to risk.
So Jane Kim, we just had a look at her on women's 1. I was just saying she's known for her slow, steady style. Running jumps, not something she will have come across too often in lead competitions.
But the way in which Katja did it was very elegant, wasn't it?
Yeah, the way Katja did it was really nice. We saw May-Elise out first, really running across, and Katja much more controlled. I think Jane can do this move. She looks in control.
I don't know, because as for now she runs or walks a little bit too close to the wall. You should start a little bit further, so the move is, approaching the wall somehow. And she's trying to run just by the wall, so it pushes her out.
That was our first good look at women's boulder 2. We just watched Jane Kim again. Yeah, it's the
You
same
see,
point again.
After a few steps, she turns automatically right, because she has a wall too close on her left, to her left arm. Talking of the second lady's problem, we had an impression, and it was somehow, and rootsetters somehow agreed with us, that the first part of the problem is more difficult than the rest. So I suppose that most of those reaching the bonus will do the problem. Well, as for now, Melis hasn't reached the bonus.
Ditto Jane Kim on women's 1. She sets and goes again.
Look, starting, she has her right foot very, very close, very deep on the volume, yes?
We'll resume in just a second, because I think we're certainly the closest we've been to a top on men's 1, Vadim.
Tomasz Oleksy told us there are no difficulties when you have already hold the edge. It seems to be easy. Yeah.
So it proves top number 1 in the men's semi-final, and Vadim takes it. Let's have another look at May-Elise. So yeah, the route setters were telling us the bottom half of this boulder considered to be harder than the top, and that's a good shot there. You get some idea of the whole picture here in Nanjing. So Jane Kim used a different. She went with a different foot there, and got one.
It seems to be that
less.
she, doesn't understand where is the essence. Where is the essence of a mistake?
So just a one top in that rotation of 5 minutes, unless I thought Jane Kim might be having another go there. Remember, it's 5 minutes flat in the semi-finals. No plus. You've only got the 5 minutes. So, our first Japanese climber of the day, first of many, Aya Ono is out. And compatriot Kai Harada out right at the far end of the stage on men's one.
Well, one could say that it's a very bad competition for Japanese because not all Japanese men are in semis.
It's a disaster. Just 7 this week after.
No, it's not a disaster. It's a triumph of of a systematic work. I think that they decided they would be the best ones, and they are doing it.
No, I mean it was this week was a disaster for them with just 7 men in the semi-final. I'm joking, of course. 10
but
in
it means
Chongqing last
it
week.
means 13 not Japanese people. I agree with you that it's not the best news for Japan.
Aya Ono, she qualified 17th yesterday. Remember the climbers in reverse order. And Kai,
He was in the final in Chongqing.
yeah, he's certainly capable of taking a final place. Wasn't quite up to his Chongqing standards yesterday in the qualifiers, but
I was so
Did enough to
stupid
make
in
it.
Chongqing, he started just before me in qualifiers, and I saw that I saw him finishing boulder after boulder, and I was stressed. Simply, I thought, oh my god, he does everything. I have to do it. But then I realized that he didn't think that he is Japanese, so it simply doesn't matter.
they are having the most extraordinary couple of years, particularly in bouldering. Let's have a look at Katja Kadic. This is
Now we
women's 2.
Now we will see if we were right saying that it is not so difficult after the bonus.
I have to say, from the bottom, it looked marginally easier from the bonus hold onwards. You can see how hard she's having to fight, but they are quite positive, those crimps. They're small, but they're positive.
Positive crimps, yes, deep and positive crimps, and the wall is not really, boom, overhanged, but she is on the ground again, surprisingly.
You can see her feeling tips of her fingers there. As I say, they're positive holds, but they're small. Aya Ono again adopting the Katja Kadic method on women's one of half walk, half run. Seems to be.
But I think she should put a little bit more force just in the beginning, to have.
I suppose it's easier to lose the speed than to gain it. Does that make sense?
It's strange because it's quite easy. It's quite easy to start thinking of such moves in terms of running and using as much speed and as much force as possible, which is obviously a mistake. I think rhythm is the best word.
Well, you see it there. It doesn't really matter. It would seem how fast you go. It's that you get the rhythm right.
Yeah.
You saw that from Aya Ono.
Because sometimes if you simply, if you hit the volume you want to hit, the bonus in this case, but too fast. If you are too fast, it makes it impossible to stop. You need to hit the moment, yes?
It's all a matter of timing. Speaking of which, that buzzer that you may have heard is the 1 minute to go buzzer.
But it's nice, it requires some understanding of the problem. You or an athlete needs to stop exactly when the problem stops. When it runs, you have to run. When it stops, you have to stop. It's like a dance, yes? And the problem is your partner here.
I love that analogy. It's like a dance and the problem is your partner.
It's a good analogy, I think.
You're proud of that one. So Aya, it shows how fine the margins are because she seemed to have the rhythm just right. Couldn't recapture it. And we saw Katja Kadic also walking off the stage with about 35 seconds left.
It is surprising because such moves usually once done, always done.
So Meikataki's out. Jane Kim is back, and May Elise is on to women's 3. In the men's, Manuel Cornu right down the far end of the stage.
The master of the last hold from Munich.
I promise we'll stop mentioning that soon. Poor Manu.
Oh, but it was funny. You know, it was a matter of 6th and 5th place, so he was not really disappointed. And now everyone remembers him.
And it's a good lesson learned. So, a promising start there from Meikataki.
Energetic. I would really like to see some women doing this move in flash. On the first problem, it will be very difficult.
I agree. I think it's going to be very difficult to flash it, but if you just find the rhythm right first time, you never know. Now this is women's 3, very physical bouldering, quite a potentially complicated series of moves here.
But look, she's doing it exactly as Tomasz told us it should be done.
Tomasz, one of our route setting team here, was explaining how this is done, and the move after that, the route setters think that the easiest way, it's hard to believe for the average person, but they think that the easiest way is to put your right heel up onto the green volume. You can see it there on the white panel above Maylise's head. So right heel onto that and lead with the feet. That's what they seem to think. I think to most people with normal hips, it's very difficult to believe that's the easiest method, but that's what they think. Jane Kim, this is a boulder much more suited to her strengths, you would imagine.
The bonus hold seems to be poorer than we thought it would be. Yeah, you see, because they cannot control it properly.
Meikataki, you can see how comfortable the starting position is here. She just waits for the brusher to move before she lines up. And she's close. There is a small bolt on. I think hopefully you can just make it out bottom right of that huge round volume. It's just enough for the climbers to catch with the right hand to stop the momentum. You can see it. And she doesn't need it, but now she reaches for it. So she didn't need it to stop the momentum, but I think she'll certainly need it to swing round.
She is now doing a risky thing, because these volumes are... I wouldn't believe them.
Yeah, a few of the climbers commented that the friction not what it might be on the volumes here. They're relatively low friction compared to some of the other manufacturers we use elsewhere on the World Cups.
She's looking for some crimp.
There.
She has found it, you see?
She has found it.
And she has done it.
And that attempt from the start looked very promising.
And look at the second problem.
Manuel Cornu adds his name to the list of climbers for the top here in today's semi-final, as does Jane Kim. And she even has the peace of mind to close her chalk bag as she jumps down. And she's got some quite funky sandals, Jane Kim, that she can fasten over the top of her climbing shoes. We just saw her putting them on. So we haven't seen much of men's 2 and men's 3 just yet. Another jump on men's 3. So the route setters think that once you're here, should be relatively easy to the top. No, it doesn't look that way so far.
Well, it was Thomas Alexa who told us it would be relatively easy. And now on the ladies' third, we have Melis once again in her, almost for sure, the last try. This problem seemed to be extremely physical from the ground. Now observing her, I think it's a little bit easier than we thought. I mean, the third problem among the women. It's a little bit easier, I think.
Possibly. We shall see. Remember, of course, that in theory, we have the strongest climbers out last, because it doesn't always work that way, but with reverse order from the qualifiers, we should have the strongest climbers last. But you realise how flawed that theory is when Anna Stor is out.
Anna Stor is technically superb. She's so good in, you know, all these elements you can train, you can learn. I suppose she can do the first problem in the first try.
Yeah, I think if you were going to put your money on someone doing it first or second go, it might be Anna.
She's trying now. She's looking if it is possible to be done without running.
She's also, I'd say, slightly above average height in the female boulders, so it's just that volume might feel a bit closer for her. Meanwhile, Iono, women's 2.
Oh, she holds these crimps strongly.
She looks very in control at this stage. You can see how poor that foothold is, and that section of the wall she's on, it doesn't really look it, but it is overhanging. It's probably 5 to 10 degrees overhanging. Katja Kadic, she had a great start to this semi-final. Let's have a look at Anna. Yes. Just as you said, so neat. I mean,
But it wasn't probably... Maybe she stood there.
I suspect that was the second attempt.
I think so.
Let's have a look. From here again, slightly taller might help. That holds just a bit closer.
Yeah, well, she doesn't start a lot now. I mean, within the last 2 years. So such moves that requires, immediate decision of using strength, like the last move on the ladies first. They requires to be, in a starting rhythm.
Yeah.
Because then you see, it's a move to the top, so you simply do it.
Just do the move. Don't think too much. So Tyler Landman, men's 3. He's going for 2 opposing crimps. You have to gast on these 2 crimps on green holes, just out of shot.
And for all people who think now that Tyler is not good in mantles, we should say that the bonus hold that he is still using is extremely poor.
It's terrible.
It's not almost no hold, in fact.
Well, you can see from the fact that his fingers were covering it up how small it is. You can see it now. I mean, it's much smaller than the palm of his hand.
It seems to be rather for being a bonus than to helping in climbing.
Now, there is talk, I was just about to say it, it's as if you read my mind. If you can put your left foot then right foot on the bonus, it gives you a bit more leverage, but as we see, the bonus hold is such a poor hold. So oh no! 2 tops for her. Just to let you know, we are just having slightly slower than average updates for the scores. We will get you some scores whenever we have them. Yeah, just slightly slower than average to update. You can have another look at Tyler. Great angle here. Looking down on him.
It's a really
perfect angle.
Yeah. It was a really nice screen.
Katja Kadic. So women's 3, a relatively easy start, and then the route setters envisage you'll push against the roof. So you will need that roof on the grey panel as well. There we go, she moves onto it. And just works her way slowly. There's so many different ways of doing this boulder, so many combinations of holes that you need to move slowly and figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
So again, she goes first with the right hand. Remember, the route setters think if you can get your right foot up there first, so swing round, get the right heel up, and then go with the hand. That's the easiest method.
Well, she tried simply to take consequences from being tall.
Possibly. You've got to play to your strengths. So 20 seconds to go in this rotation. Kai Harada thinks he can manage men's 2 in that time. Ditto Kokoro Fuji. You haven't seen much of him on men's one.
Surprising he cannot do the first move, which is not difficult, and we know it already.
Yeah, surprising. Kokoro's had a up and down season from what we've seen in the first two World Cups. Evgenia Kazbekova, Ukraine, is out. Her compatriot, Sergei Tepishko, he'll be out fourth to last, qualified fourth. Brilliant day for him yesterday. So good semi-final for Ukraine. One climber in each of the semi-finals, men's and women's. Naikataki, meanwhile, women's two. Just trying to figure out how to move left. This wall she's on, as I mentioned earlier, vaguely overhanging. Not massively, but enough to turn good holds into okay holds. And, the bonus hold is that. It's okay. Positive but small.
Are you sure it is positive? Because I thought so, but now I have some doubts. For Shana, for Megan, maybe it is.
So here's Nathan Phillips. Team GB, first semi-final. He's been at both World Cups so far.
How gently he tried to do it.
Yeah, very nice, gentle style. Nice to watch, but it wasn't successful. Might have to risk slightly more than that. Manuel Cornu holds the jump.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about the men's second problem yet.
Very physical boulder.
Very physical, quite simple, I mean, in its main idea. But these slopers are really poor. So it seems to be on your screens that these holds are quite positive. They are not.
And that top hold is particularly poor. The route setters really believe that climbers will fall on the very last move. The top hold is not a good hold.
The top hold is very poor, and it's very uncomfortable to hold, you know, inconvenient.
Yeah, it's one of those volumes where every time you go, you find a different way to hold it.
Yeah.
And you start to doubt
yourself.
yourself.
This is exactly this kind of volume that you think it would be nice to have it on your gym, because then I would learn how to hold them, and then you buy it, you pay as much money, and then you train on it, and then it is on a competition, and once again you see that, oh shit, I don't know how to hold it once again, yes.
So Jane Kim into women's three. Apologies there, Andre meant sugar.
Sugar. I said sugar.
I thought you did.
I have a very poor English accent, you know. It's a very difficult language for Polish people.
Let's have a look at how Jane Kim gets on with women's three. Again, a bit like women's two. This is a boulder you think it might suit her. Endurance, not a problem. Admittedly, it's a very hard position to hold, but you can see there she's not struggling to stay there. This isn't.
She feels very comfortable, but then she simply you need to know what to do. So this is a conceptual problem in a roof, not physical.
So this is our first chance to have a real look at fourth boulders. Maëlys and Ricardo on them. I think women's four in particular extremely difficult. We'll see as the round progresses, hopefully, but it does involve the use of the backside.
Seems to be physical for such, for such ladies as Michaela Tracy, for example. I think she will feel on this problem very, very good. She will like it.
Nathan Phillips again not getting on with men's one. Ooh, close, a very, very fast approach from Evgenia Kazbekova there. We've seen a few methods. That was the sprint. Jane Kim again. We just catch the end of her attempt. Evgenia latches it this time. Time will be an issue here.
Oh,
And she had both.
pity.
She actually had more time, I think, than she realised. She had 6 seconds.
For sure she was.
She could have taken 2 just to set herself, but easy
know,
to say from here.
She's so young. It's sometimes a matter of experience. Yes, you have 5 seconds left to move for you, because it seemed to be as if the move was easy for her, that she was strong enough to do it easily.
Yeah, definitely had both hands firmly on the top. Not enough to stay on, unfortunately. Interesting 2 climbers out now. Solsa, Korea, and over far end of the stage, Jan Hoyer out on men's 4. This is a round of boulders you think he could enjoy. We shall see.
Well, Jan and slabs is a story, really, because I remember several years ago Jan was extremely poor on slabs. It could be that the slab was the easiest problem of a round, done by more than half of people starting in a round. Qualification round, yes, and Jan was among those who didn't do it. And after 2 years, there was a season when Jan did probably all slabs in the season. I was impressed because it means a lot of hard work. Yes,
it is. It's a lot of practice. Not very glamorous work.
That's very unpleasant work to do, because you have to climb on something you don't like, you don't feel good on.
Oh, look, now this is another method again on women's 3. So that relatively comfortable position. I don't see if she does. Yeah, so
she's looking to and fro.
At some stage you do need to commit though.
Well, I don't like while starting to be in such a position that is extremely comfortable and suddenly you have to decide to leave it.
Okay, this is really nice here. Nice and steady. Iono just sussing out this boulder bit by bit. So, can she A, figure out that you need the heel hook, and
well,
B, can she do it?
This left heel hooking is much too close, yes? It's very very unpleasant. It would be if made successfully, which I do not believe, by the way, is possible.
Katja Kadic, great start to this round.
Yeah,
It's already on women's 4.
Well done, really well done. Now there is a strange mantle, as Tomasz Aleksy told us.
Yeah, the easiest way theoretically is to put your right butt cheek, believe me, your right butt cheek,
I do believe,
on that volume. But you can see the hole she's going for, that tiny blue hole. So
she doesn't believe you, probably.
No, I don't think she does.
Not yet.
She can't lunge for that top hold. It's too small. You need to do it in control. She can't even see it. You can see there, yeah, lunge for it, but you're going to need to do that move in control. You have no chance.
Oi!
Kai Harada there. Not a million miles off on men's 3.
He seems to be very close. And I thought he controlled his position. Suddenly something happened.
It looked very promising, but he'll have time for another go. Iono, meanwhile, we're back on women's 3. She had a really nice way of starting this boulder. Nice and controlled, nice and slow, minimising the time that she has to hang. Judging by our venue MC, we have had a top. We'll hopefully find a replay and bring that to you shortly.
It was Anna Stor on the second.
There we go. We don't have an unrestricted view of the wall, so we can't always necessarily see any more than you can at home.
Yes, but I had a very clear view of Anna Stor going back to the ice. So
That gives a good clue. So Solsa heads back in after women's 1.
And we have another round. Look at the replay.
So this is a replay of Kokoro, men's 2. So this hold is going for, this volume here is the top. You can see it there. Let's have a look. Very nicely done. That is a very poor hold. We were discussing it earlier.
It's fantastic how Japanese athletes can control their position and, so to say, think by their body. Even in very, very stressing situations.
You can see that with Kokoro, even when he's at his physical limit, his awareness of his body and how he's moving is incredible. So Fanny Gibert, we spoke to her yesterday, enjoyed the boulders a lot yesterday evening.
We have to say also that they are very flexible, all Japanese, and if you are flexible, your brain is also flexible.
Meikataki, the next climber to have a look at women's 3.
And we are still waiting for not even a top, for a hope for a top on the women's 3.
Yeah, we haven't been particularly close to one yet. If a climber can find the correct beater, you might see one. Meikataki, the next to try it. And she's got the switch. That move has stopped a few climbers so far.
Oh, look at her left heel. She managed to do it. It's extremely close.
And also didn't do that move to the green volume the way the route setters think is easiest with the heel Hurst. She just went first with the right hand, and I have to say, look, very solid. It's a dual texture hold, that top hold. She'll need to grab the very top. I don't know.
Well, now we have heel hooking on the green
now
volume.
We have heel hook. It's using a lot of energy. She won't want to have to get back up here. And I don't think she'll need to get back up because she claims to top, and you can see there on the close-up the dual texture. It's only the top of that finish hold.
Yeah, well, she was quite afraid of the last hold. That's why all these, all these operation with right heel hook.
Let's have another look. So you can see the dual texture of the yellow hold. She finds the sweet spot with one hand, then the other, and that's the top. So Manuel Cornu. This men's 3, we mentioned earlier, the Gastons, the 2 green holds above him. Got to simultaneously pull outwards on both of them.
It looked like a replay, like slow motion.
This is Jane Kim, women's 4. Just to let you know, we are having some problems with the scores going from the judges' tablets into the live system. We will bring you scores as soon as we have them. Unfortunately, we don't have an unrestricted view of the wall as we did last week, so we can't even keep score manually, just from what we can see. But we will bring you them as soon as we have them. Jane Kim, women's 4. Incredibly flexible climber. If you ever happen to find yourself at a World Cup and watch Jane warming up, yoga positions make your hips and your back ache just looking extremely flexible. You can see that in the way she moved her shoulders there. So Nathan Phillips, first semi-final for him this year.
Tomasz Alexy told us about the first move, that it wasn't very difficult, and it really isn't very difficult. All of them do it quite easily. The rest is difficult.
So we see there Fanny Gibert trying that series of moves to the right very quickly, almost looked too fast. She went past the bonus hold. Just needs to find that slightly slow rhythm.
Exactly like in a dance. Not always you are the one who should lead. Yeah, sometimes you have to listen to your partner.
I'm enjoying these dancing analogies.
I think it's a good analogy because generally climbing is not like, like athletics. You are not alone in climbing. There is you and the problem always. And always the problem is different than the previous and the next one. We have Vadim Timonov on the last move of the fourth problem, falling down, by the way.
You just saw him there on the right-hand side of your screen. So next climbers out, Petra Klingler, world champion. Knee injury from earlier this year, not seeming to hold her back, both finals so far, including in her home country in Switzerland, and Alfons Dornauer of Austria onto men's one. Full stage here in Nanjing, and the temperature increasing. It's been very, very hot here.
What do you think, Flash?
No. Alfons, excellent day for him. His compatriot Jakob Schubert not into today's semi-final, 32nd yesterday if my memory serves me right, but Alfons making it in, the only Austrian man in today's semi-final, qualified 11th. He's the last of the climbers who were in the bottom half of the qualifiers.
And surprisingly,
yesterday.
Anna Sturr has problems with the start on the third problem.
Great shot there, Petra Klinger, enjoying her second attempt on women's one. Here's Kokoro. We talked about how aware he is of his body and his movement, and you combine that with incredible power, you've got a pretty special climber. And I wonder if we're about to see a top on men's three.
You will.
I would guess so.
Not necessarily now, but you will, for sure.
You can see his right leg just twitching with the only sign really of how much effort he's putting in. I think he's going to swap his feet. He is. That bonus hold though is so poor. You wonder how much you can get out of it. Yeah. Struggling to use it. And Anna Sturr, we mentioned her earlier.
Easily. I made a mistake, you know, I was wrong saying that this left heel hooking is so difficult. It is not.
Yeah, the left heel hook, of course, hidden underneath the roof. You can just about make it out when we get a close-up. So here's Jan Hoyer, a men's two. Again, a boulder you feel he may enjoy.
And Petra Klingler still trying to do the first move. I think she will have no problems with the last one.
I can assure you that Andre did predict that perfectly. He didn't see her. We're not watching this 5 seconds ahead of you. His prediction was spot on, no problem this time. So now she's got plenty of time, all the time in the world, to figure out how to get this top hold without using any more attempts on this boulder.
Oh, I'm not a good foreteller.
Split second where you thought Petra Klingler had it.
Oi! And now we see a difference between European and Japanese climbers. It's the same, exactly the same element that
Just good shot there.
for Kokoro was easy. Yeah, when he put his right heel on the volume, it was clear that the problem was done for him. For Jan, it was the beginning of problems. How to use it properly.
Let's have another look at Anna Sturr. So she looks really solid up to here. What happened last time was as she moved up the left hand.
Generally on these boulders she has problems
Just
in different places than other women. The most difficult move is easy for her. The start and the move to the top, much more difficult.
Different styles make different moves and different boulders difficult for different climbers.
I think this is you thought of this way of doing this move, and we were told by route setters, ladies and gentlemen, that it was absolutely impossible, but we were absolutely sure at the same time that someone would try it that way.
Yeah, that move to the top on men's three. I said to the route setters, you could do that dynamically, and they would say, no, it's not, it can't be done, no way, everybody will have to do it statically. Well, we saw Kokoro at least attempt it dynamically. I'm still convinced we will see climbers attempt it that way. Whether they succeed is another matter.
Yeah, but to be honest, this wasn't a promising attempt. We have Anna.
Anna's
Now she's
still struggling.
already tired, but it's fascinating. It's a matter of, of the fact that she didn't start a lot recently, I suppose, because sometimes she's obviously better and stronger than most of these women, yes, and sometimes she's simply, a lack of feeling, a lack of decision, not a lack of strength for sure.
Certainly not, no. So there's a very
By the way, it
familiar
may be
figure.
that the move to the green volume requires more strength than any other move of this round. Yes, and this move was easy for Anna Sztor.
A perfect example of the different styles. Now, here's Janja Garnbret, closest to the camera. Won last week in Chongqing, in fact dominated last week in Chongqing, topped every single boulder in every single round.
I would like to see this problem done that way.
You could see her trying the static method. It didn't actually look impossible. I still think
Dangerous for knees.
moving is easier. So now we're into the top half semi-final, the top 10 qualifiers from yesterday, and that was a brief look at Rei Sugimoto.
And now look at Meiko Take, our hero from the third problem.
Yes, a really physical fourth boulder. And here's Nathan Phillips. He's been actually here in Nanjing. The athletes have been in one hotel, and the officials and us, the media, have been in another. But Nathan was in the officials' hotel, so we saw quite a lot of him this week. And there weren't great training facilities here in Nanjing, but he found a 1 centimetre edge in his hotel room, and he's been training on it all week.
But I have heard some legends about Britons looking for a climbing gym in Nanjing for 2 days.
I can well believe it. A lot of the climbers this week have been in Shanghai because they've got some superb climbing gyms in Shanghai. Some of the athletes came here and haven't had quite the same training facilities, but given that we're on the road in Asia for 3 weeks, maybe not such a bad thing to have a slow week, relax a bit, catch your breath. But
well,
Nathan
it's
very happy to find his 1 centimetre edge. And he's
it's
been
so
training hard.
unpredictable, by the way. My friend told me just recently, you know what, Andrew, I told him after mating, and I was very upset because I was 18th probably. I told him, gosh, man, I don't remember when I was so strong last time. And he told me, yes, Andrew, but you don't make good in competitions if you are too strong. But that's true. If you shouldn't feel too strong. Now we have Manu Cornu feeling very strong on the last problem.
Well, generally, there's no such thing as too much power, but perhaps there is. Let's have another look. Manuel Cornu launching. Can't quite see that top hole. Just to let you know, we are
An aristocrat control of the pink sloper, and now we have the very famous Chester. But after putting another hand on the volume,
that's the key. It's after claiming the top now. He's learnt his lesson. But just to let you know, we are taking our pictures and our feed this week here in Nanjing from the Chinese TV company. We're not providing our own pictures and using our own cameras.
but
So
I
there's-
remember Manu visiting Warsaw for a competition just 3 years ago. During this time, he made such an enormous progress.
I think there's more to come from Manu as well in the next year or two.
Well, he is very young, he is very talented, and it's obvious that he does a lot of really good work upon his climbing.
Of course, also trains at the superb French facility at Fontainebleau. Another big tick.
Look
Big
at the
plus for him.
first women problem once again. It's very interesting to point out that for some girls this running is extremely difficult, and they do the last move immediately afterwards. And we have an example.
There we go, Janja Garnbret. Yeah,
But for Janja it was not an easy move, yes?
No, she looks a bit frustrated. Used quite a few attempts. You can see how neat that last attempt was. So that's the one that worked. Such a neat precision footwork. Really nice to watch. And Janja just coming off stage. We've actually got a better view of where the athletes sit in between attempts, the female athletes, than we do of the wall itself. And you just see Janja come back out. Miho Nanaka and Nakia Noguchi about 5 metres from us, actually chatting and looking very light-hearted before their attempts. Out now though, Michaela Tracy. Meanwhile on men's one, we've got Sean McColl, first semi-final of the year for him. Had some big names not make semis in the first 2 World Cups. Sean McColl and Rustam Gelmanov not made the semi-final in the first 3. He came into this season feeling good, but it's not shown in his results so far. So Michaela didn't get on with the women's one at this stage. I think boulders 2 and 3 and maybe 4 might be better suited to Michaela. If she can take a top on women's one,
she's able, and I think she will. But it takes time. Yeah, she's a kind of an aggressive climber. I don't mean person, but climber, yes. And it's very hard for such climbers to simply to quiet for a moment and to listen to the problem. Yes, what is necessary here.
It's very difficult. It's one of those boulders you need to almost turn off your brain.
Turn off
just
your
let
brain.
it naturally move.
Yes, and open yourself from something from outside. Yes.
Kokoro Fuji.
Not asking yourself how I want to do it, but how the problem wants to be done.
Kokoro. You can see there the familiar figure of Nestor down on the left, wearing number 88.
And we have Michaela already after the running, and I suppose no, she's stressed.
Yeah, she looked as if she was a bit too far left to go from there. She looked like she needed to get her body just to the centre of gravity, just to the right of the volume.
And she seems to be stressed. Well, I understand her. She has a lot of strength, and she's simply waiting for such climbers, call them real boulders.
Now there we go. Jan Hoyer obviously thinks very much like me. We're very similar climbers, me and Jan Hoyer, but going dynamically for that last move on men's 3, that was my first thought.
If there is anyone to do it that way, this is Jan.
Yeah, we're similar shape, me and Jan, and similar climbers.
Michaela on the last move, once again.
Once again, looks a bit too far to the left, so it's making it more of a jump rather than a reach.
But it seems to be that she's looking for a mystery, but there is no mystery, you know? She's looking for a beta, but there is no beta, there is simply a move to do.
Possibly overthinking. We shall see. I think she can do that move.
But
Nestor can't do that move as things stand. She's got 1 minute 40 to do it. There's Sean McColl flying rightwards.
Well,
there's Michaela Tracy.
Sean McColl is doing something opposite to what he should, because he's trying to go more rightwards than he does. The fact is that he should remain on the left side of the volume. Yeah.
Kokoro lining up for another attempt on men's 4 here in Nanjing. Very hot, beautiful sunny day, but climbing conditions not ideal. It's not been very humid here.
Yeah, and there we see Jan Hoyer's feet on trembling.
That was a great shot, actually, Jan's feet. You just see them shaking
Nice
away.
detail, wasn't it?
Kokoro really not getting on with that at all. Meanwhile, here's Solsa. Already seen her compatriot Jane Kim. Michaela.
40 seconds left, and Michaela Tracy on the first one. Sean McColl on the first one. Already on the bonus.
He suddenly looks very solid, Sean. He struggled with the first move initially, but suddenly looks much more in control. Just trying to figure out. He's got to jump to the right. He just has a look at the time. He's a... I thought he had that, so did he, by the look on his face.
Well, if done, it would be really well done.
Solsao's going to be timed out here, unless you can... No, she's going to be timed out. I was going to say, unless you can do something spectacular. And there, number 110, Aki Noguchi, 4 overall Boulder World Cup titles, 4 runner-up as well. Incredibly consistent, generally climbs well here in China. If she doesn't make the final, it would be a surprise.
But look, our predictions, at least regarding women, are going to be correct. I mean, 2 in 2 probably will be in, maybe even 2 in 3, 2 in 4.
And I believe we have some results coming through. If you are just joining us, we are having a... I believe at the end of this rotation, at the end of...
Oh, Aki Noguchi does really want to do it in the first try.
At the end of each climber's 4 boulders, we can show you the results. I'm being told we are having some problems with the local internet with updating from the judges' tablets to the score system, which includes the IFSC app.
Is there such a thing as local internet? I thought it was global.
It's a good point. Keep an eye top of your screen. This is climbers who've already finished their rotation, I believe. Let's say we will endeavour to bring you the results we can. But not easy at this stage. If you're looking at the app, you also, I believe, won't be getting updated scores, but as soon as they come in, we will bring them to you. So we've had tops of women's 1, 2, 3, and we've had tops of men's 1 and 2.
And 4. Manu Kornu.
Of course, Manu Kornu on 4, yes. So only the third boulders, women's 4
and men's 3rd, yes.
Men's 3 yet to be topped.
But I'm absolutely sure we will see some tops on men's 3 and on women's 4 as well.
Fanny Gibe again, and that's a very... No? Well, we just cut to that shot of Yane Crude. It looked like a top to me.
He seems to
get the right hand up.
Seems to be unhappy somehow. Maybe simply for not doing it in flesh. He's very,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a top from Yane. We only saw the very last second. It didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. He didn't look very happy, but no, it was a top. I've had it confirmed. I was trying to look down the far end of the wall. He is off back in the holding zone, and it was a top. I think the frustration came from the fact that it wasn't a flash. Let's have a look. Nathan Phillips. One hand on the top hold of men's 4.
Aki Noguchi stood for a long time before her first try on the starting volumes, just as if she really did want a flash try. But it seems to be that these... we should find a word different than running.
It's a run walk.
Run walk. Volume walk.
Volume walk. Rei Sugimoto. It's men's 2. Saw a successful top of that earlier. Aki Noguchi, massively experienced. Not so far enjoying women's 1.
By the way, formerly you asked me what is important in such moves. I mean running moves, yes?
Yeah.
Maybe the most important thing is to keep your arms forward. To keep a position of your body just as it is when you run on the ground. And the most common mistake is when you see climbers running and with every step their arms go back and back and back and back, yeah, and they are further and further from the wall.
And for people that are trying to take that into their own climbing, why do you need to keep your hands forward?
arms,
Your arms.
your body forward. Try to run on the ground, not doing it.
Good point. So Nathan Phillips looking very strong here on men's 4, and again a hand on the top, but not both, and you might have even heard his shout of frustration through our microphones. With just underneath that crane camera on the far left of the wall, as you look at it, just underneath that camera there, below and left of that, is our position. Unfortunately, we're not quite that high up, so we don't quite have that view when the crane camera is working. Doesn't matter at all. So Miho Nanaka, see her there, just her bib number appearing bottom left of your screen, 109. Jongwon Chon out on men's 1. Miho, if she wants to match or even better her second overall from 2016, including 2 World Cup wins, she's going to need a good result here in Nanjing. So far, Shauna Coxey is on balance looked the strongest female climber, with Yanya Garmret not too far behind. If Miho wants to get back to where she was in 2016, she needs a top on women's 1 before she does much else. Solsa close up there. Solsa, you can see tiny lip on that blue volume. She can't get much out of it. Michaela Tracy, meanwhile, we can see her there, the dreadlocks on women's 2. And Miho lines up for another attempt on women's 1, the run, the walk run, the volume walk, with so many names for it. She's closer that time. Kayla looking really nicely balanced, just shifting her weight neatly there. But she has got a dynamic move here up to the left of that volume.
Yes, you're right. I was just going to say it, that she balances, now balanced very well on the second, but she didn't hold very well. Well, another argument that those crimps are not as good as we thought.
Yeah, those crimps on women's 2, they are positive, but they're tiny and they're not perhaps as good as the route setters thought they would be, given that the temperature is extremely high here in Nanjing. You can see the sun creeping onto the mats.
And even the mattress becomes hot. It was a big problem yesterday during the last athletes' starts in qualification round, that the mattress was hot.
And you could see it there, the sun creeping onto the mattress, and really the climbers need to rest in between attempts close to the wall, because if they go too far from the wall, they're on the sunny part of the mat, and it is super hot, makes the feet very uncomfortable. So it's very much a factor, conditions here. There's Michaela lining up to shift to the crimp. It didn't look nearly as comfortable that time, and she's off earlier. She's still got 2 minutes of her 5 left though. Miho lining it up. No, an aborted start. Only counts with 1 attempt, of course, because she never went back to the ground. And meanwhile, Jongwon Chon, last week's winner from Chongqing, claims the top. Petra Klingler, world champion from Paris in September, is on women's 3, recovering from a serious knee injury. Not holding her back. So she's that left heel hook that we mentioned, it's hidden by her body. It's there. You can see the left foot.
She was trying to match feet. Did you see it? Which means that maybe she was trying to do it in the root setter's way. Well, we have just 1 minute.
We saw Alphonse Dornauer there trying to bridge his way up men's 3. Didn't look too far off. Still not had a top on men's 3. Sean McCall, we're about to have a top on men's 2. No, we're not. That volume, we were talking about it earlier, terrible volume. Really hard to know exactly where to hold it. It's nowhere very good. Jan, and we're about to see a top of men's 4.
Oh, but Jan seemed to be really determined to do it.
That right hand landed with real purpose.
Yeah, but the left hand holding the pink one, you know, is quite sure of what it was doing and why it was doing it.
Miho, last attempt on women's 1 and it's successful. She needed that, Miho. It's seen enough tops women's 1 that you suspect you'll need that to make the final. Just to remind you, if you are just tuning in, we're live here in Nanjing, a rare treat to be live in China. Semi-final here in the heat of Nanjing, 300 kilometers northwest of Shanghai. Big city, 8 million people, I'm told. I mean, I wasn't around then, I wasn't around back then, but in the 50th century, it was the biggest city in the world, Nanjing.
And well, it was the capital of China after the First World War.
During several earlier dynasties as well. It's been the capital city on several occasions, now dwarfed by many cities in China. 8 million doesn't even count as a mega city anymore in this huge country, but very interesting city, very green, very nice place to spend a week.
Very green, very modern.
It is. The only issue the climbers will have with it, of course, is the heat. It's not been very humid this week. It's been a very dry, fierce heat, the sort of heat where you really get sunburnt, especially if you're from the north of England. But today, there's a bit of humidity to go with it. Kia Noguchi, she's on women's 2. And we just had a wave from Sierra Blair Coyle, who's sitting about 5 meters away, ready to go on. I hope she can't see our screen. She's supposed to be in isolation. I just tilt the screen to make sure she can't see it. I'm only kidding. The screen is well tilted. There's no chance of the athletes seeing it. Let's have a look. Yannick Kruder, men's 2. Can he make it 2 tops on 2 boulders?
Yarney seems to be really aware of being in a good shape.
He's happy with that. That's 2 tops, 2 boulders from him. You can see the judge's hand.
Now he
just
has
enter our
got
camera
2
shot.
tops in really good tries, which means that, in my opinion at least, he is already quite close to the final round.
I think he could well be, yeah. 2 tops, 2 boulders. I don't think, we are not getting updated scores. I don't think off the top of my head any male climber has yet topped both of the first 2 boulders.
You may be right.
We will check.
You may be right. Well, for Yarney, there are 2 problems more for making mistakes and for others. Well, we have Young Won Chon still, we have Meiichi Narasaki, Sergei Topishko, Roland Rukens, who is in surprisingly good shape.
He is in very good shape.
I don't want to underestimate him, but...
No, he had a great start in 2016. Made his first ever final in Kazo. See there, Fanny Gilbert brushing matters into her own hands. See Yannick Garnbret just walk into our shot. I was just saying earlier, we are taking our feed from Chinese TV today. We're not providing our own pictures, so the director and the pictures you see coming from Chinese TV. If you have any comments, please direct them their way. Kia Noguchi, she's been in 1 or 2 World Cup semi-finals before. Chloe Collier becoming an increasingly regular participant in World Cup semi-finals. Really good climber to watch, very determined. Got a minute left to get women's 1 done. Ditto Kia Noguchi on women's 2. And this looks promising from Akio, moving really nice and steadily, but just couldn't quite hold on once that left hand began to move. As Yannick Garnbret topped every boulder last week in Chongqing. Meanwhile, Fanny Gilbert, women's 4.
And we have now on our screens men's 3. And it is Rei Sugimoto. 30 seconds left. He has only 30 seconds. Now 25.
Needs to take his time. He won't have time for another attempt here because it's so complicated to get here. If he can make that right
He's
foot
doing
stick, this looks very
so
promising.
Beautifully.
One finger on the top hold.
Is it enough? It may be enough.
Oh, this is...
If he does it properly, it may be enough, but it is not enough. And Rei Sugimoto is on the ground again, shouting, very angry, very upset, I suppose, because he was probably the one who was closest to doing this problem. He would be the first one. Now we have to wait still for the first stop on the most difficult, probably, men's problem in this round.
Let's have a look. Using his crack climbing skills there to try and finger lock his way to a top. Stasher, women's one, made every final so far in the 2 World Cups we've had. David Fernenberg. He'd be a good outside
She's
bet
counting.
for a final place.
Have you seen it?
Stasher.
Haven't you seen it? She was pointing by her finger in the air every single volume. 1, 2, 3, 4 counting steps. It was so pretty. It was so nice.
Jongwon Chon looking to back up his win last week. 2015 overall Boulder World Cup winner.
Oh, I would like so much to have a replay of it.
It was great, wasn't it?
And her first tries, even if unsuccessful, were both of them very well balanced.
David Fernenberg just looked like he'd found a comfortable position, but then slipped Petra Klinglon women's 4. If you're just tuning in, if you couldn't quite face a 3:30 a.m. start in mainland Europe, 2:30 a.m. in Great Britain, and probably quite a civilized evening time in America. We're live here in Nanjing. I have Andre alongside me. Andre, could you give me one more lesson in your surname? There's a noise that I just can't do.
Would like fastly said or maybe slowly?
I think slowly might be better.
Andrzej Mecherzyński, Victor.
There we go. I let Andre introduce himself
But
when it comes to
don't bother.
surnames.
In Poland, it makes problems as well. Everywhere, and especially that I have 2 surnames, which only adds another problems.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah, Michaela Tracy is trying hard. She is trying so hard that it seems to be that she doesn't feel well today.
Now, there's been a bit of illness going around amongst the athletes. I know Team Austria were hit quite hard by illness.
I've heard something about it, but I've heard a lot of strange stories this week. For example, about French team traveling by taxi from Shanghai to Nanjing and so on and so on. I don't believe them.
I'm not sure what to believe, but the rumour was that several of the athletes got ill as a result of some dodgy air conditioning. How you can pinpoint where illness comes from, I'm not 100%, but there we go. So,
well, I know nothing about it. I was in Chongqing and then I went directly to Nanjing.
keep an eye top of your screen, updated scores. As I mentioned earlier, we're not getting many updated scores, but when the climbers finish their 4 boulders, we can get their complete score. What we can't get as it stands is their live score during their 4 boulder rotation. Michaela Tracy, one thing she doesn't lack is fight and determination, and she's going to need it if she wants to top women's 3. See there, some climbers that already know they won't make it. Riccardo Piazza, he was first out in his first ever World Cup semi-final. Tyler Landman down in 9th. Top 6 go through to this evening's final. The final has been rescheduled to 6:30 p.m. local time. That change was made a few days ago. It should be on the updated info sheet and the updated timings, but if you haven't checked recently, the final will be at 6:30 p.m. Nanjing time. This is also Shanghai time. I believe it's +6 from mainland Europe, +7 hours from the UK. Sean McCall, women's 3. Oh, you just saw him begin to shift. He realised too. soon as his body began to move outwards, he couldn't recover it.
But just when he started to tremble, one could realize how calm he had been before.
Yeah, it's a good point. So steady up to there that it didn't really look like he was trying too hard. So Petra, very short of time here, 5 minutes flat to attempt these boulders, and she's only got 10 of those seconds left.
It's funny because this problem, which seems to be so physical, was easier for not so strong girls, not as strong as Petra for sure.
Now this is interesting. Women's one, Sierra Blair Coyle. We didn't see her in Chongqing, but she's here today. And how she was there yesterday, 5 tops in her qualifying group.
Yeah, which is a sign that the semi-final is going to its crucial point. I mean, to the moment when we have the last ones on the first ones.
Yes, the climbers coming out in the reverse order of how they qualified. First in the qualifying round, you come out last in the semi. Sierra, 17th yesterday, climbs fourth to last. Sorry, she was 4th yesterday.
She was 4th yesterday.
Climbs
yes.
17th today.
That's why it means that we have four athletes left. 8 athletes, because 4 women and 4 men.
I knew what I meant. So Sierra, you can see how comfortable those starting holds are. She's having plenty of time to shake out.
She maintains a very stable position, I would like to say. She's thinking. She's trying to figure out how to do it properly.
Just rehearsing a couple of moves. We might be about to see our first top on men's 3. If Yannick Kruder can do this, I'm sure he will be in the final.
He is in. He was on the wrong path, in fact.
But interesting,
Right
he shifted the left hand quickly there, and it seemed to just put him off balance.
Yes, but you need to use the pink hold on the left.
But he just shifted, and it just seemed to throw his balance as he went for the top hold. I wonder if he needs to do that move really slowly. That's certainly how the route setters thought it would be done. So Sierra, nice to watch this. I wonder if is she trying to do it statically?
She is trying to do it statically, yes.
It doesn't look impossible, but I have to say that if you can find the right rhythm, it looks easier to.
Well, it
go with
doesn't
some
look
speed.
impossible as far as you don't know these volumes.
Yeah, that's true. You can see in the background there, Yanya Garmret. We haven't seen a huge amount of her today. There she is. Women's 4.
This may be the first top.
It could be, yes.
Women's 4.
She's got to mantle that volume, but
But not that way, not that way.
believe it or not, right hip in is easier. So you can see a hold just hidden, partially hidden by Yanni's left leg.
It's easy to believe. It should be, by the way, it should be natural for them that you want to sit on such a big thing, yes? Because you see that it would be comfortable. And it is, as we see right now on our screens.
And
She's
there we
sitting
go.
on the bonus volume, putting both hands on the top hold. She is very tired.
She is very tired.
Which means that it's very hot there.
Also, the women's qualifiers was shifted back yesterday. Let's just have another look at this from one of our wall-mounted cameras. You can see the route setters are talking about put your backside on that right hold. We see there, and once you're sitting on it, it's not too hard to then match the top hold. And she's down. Yeah, very tired. The women's qualifiers were shifted to 7 p.m. They didn't even start until 7 p.m. yesterday evening. So, considering that the women had to be back in isolation before 9 o'clock this morning, that's a very short turnaround. We were here filming and editing last night's highlights till late, and I feel tired today, and I didn't have to climb. So I think fatigue, particularly for the women, will be a factor after that. Their qualifier was shifted back to evening to get out of the worst of the heat.
But still, a good information is the nights are not so hot, so you can relax at least at night.
It's true, but by the time most of the climbs were finished, they won't have been back to the hotel much before 10, 11. Back at the venue for 8, half 8 this morning. It's
yeah, but a hot night means that you have an impression as if sun was walking after you all day and then all night. Oh, yeah, Kruder was trying to do it in a very original way.
Yeah, I'm surprised he changed his method actually, because his first attempts looked quite
After
promising.
2 tops on the first 2 problem, he's, so to say, in the right.
He can take some risks.
Yeah, he can take some risks and probably, well, he is an experienced athlete, yes. Probably he knows there were some tops on the 4th one. So, feeling strong, he expects his own one as well. And now Jerne already knows there are tops on the 4th one.
Yeah, Rei Sugimoto topping men's 4. We saw him have a valiant battle with men's 3. Got a finger on the top hold. Let's have another look. Sets himself. Taps the left foot just to steady himself. Right hand looks super solid. As soon as it landed, a bit like when Jerne Kruder topped it. Pretty happy with that one. It's a new rotation. Monica Recchi, Germany. 2nd place in Mumbai in 2016. She is more than capable of making finals. So here we go. Updated scores. So these are only the scores. We've only got updated scores for climbers who have finished their attempts on all 4 boulders.
And funny, isn't it? We have only one, now 2 women with 2 tops. And at the same time, we have all problems done.
It's interesting. No climber has dealt well with all of the boulders, but all of the boulders have been topped by the women.
It was, by the way, a very interesting feature of Meiringer's finals. Out of 4, 3 men's problems were done, but the best had only 1 top.
Just goes to show different styles of climbers.
And you can get
boulders.
crazy being a route setter, yes, because looking at the results, someone tells you, okay, we had 4 problems, 3 of them were done, they didn't do the easiest one because the first one was the easiest. And you think, oh, well done, very good, I'm very happy. And then the same person tells you, oh, and 4 first guys had only 1 top.
You cannot win as a route setter. They like to see every boulder top though, and the one that hasn't been topped so far is this men's 3 that Jungwon Chon is fighting with. He's tall, he's got long arms and legs, and he's got 1 hand on the top hole. Can he put 2? He's got his thumb in the bolt hole, and he's got the top. Gives it a final tap. Very happy man. Disappears back in, and he's won himself an extra 2 minutes 45 rest.
By the way, I wonder, because we didn't ask about it, and I know that this transmission is watched by some of my friends who are really keen on rules. Which one of these holes is the top one?
That is a good question, especially after last week's confusion with Jongwon in Chongqing.
Oh, it was not a confusion. It was clear there that there was top on the hold, not on the volume. It was Jongwon's mistake, I think.
Yeah, he was confused. Let's have a look.
He was, yeah. Obviously.
Keita Watabe, top for him, 2 minutes to spare. Nearly half the rotation. I mean, when you've only got 5 minute rest, an extra 2 is very nice indeed.
And this is Stasia Gajos. Stasia was, I saw her a year ago in Warsaw on European Youth Cup in bouldering, and believe me or not, then she seemed to be a very strong, a very well climbing, but still, you know, still a girl. And now 1 year afterwards, she's a regular inhabitant of semis, and from time to time, quite often in finals.
Michaela Tracy there, just not getting on with women's 4. Monica Recchi lining it up. Women's 1, it's got a minute left.
And sometimes Stasia climbs as if she was a really, really experienced climber.
She's becoming increasingly experienced. She had a great start to the season.
Yeah.
Miho Nanaka needs a great start, and she's on to the second to last hold on women's 3, going for that dual texture round top hold, and she's got it. Top for Miho. memory serves me right, she also topped women's 1.
But it seems to be that if a Japanese athlete can make a heel hook, it means he can make a problem. He or she. In this case, she has just done the third one.
And looks pretty happy about it. Kayla Tracy will be timed out.
Will be
Monica, no. She looked like she had the speed, almost had the speed perfect, but for some reason nothing else was working. Here's Sean McCall, he won't have any time. It's time for him. Kayla
you know
Tracy
what is
disappears off there.
what's very funny in climbing, that there are no two the same situations, two identical situations. Similar, yes, but it's sometimes misguiding. You look for a problem, you have 5 minutes, as you know. You look for a problem and you very well know how to do it because you have trained it. You trained these particular kind of moves many, many times, and it turns to be that it is to be done in a different way.
No moves are identical.
No moves are identical, that's true. You have to listen, you have to be not only active, you have to be passive also, to leave some open space for the problem to express itself.
The mindset is one of the most difficult things to master. You have to be decisive but also open to new ideas at the same time. So Megan Mascarenas, winner of the previous 2 World Cups in Vale, which we'll be back in Vale in the 9th and 10th of June.
Now she was trying to divide this movie into 2 different runs. It was a mistake. It has to be one operation.
Yeah, we've got Team USA out on women's 1 and 2, Sierra and Megan. Keeping them out. Women's 2 and Chloe Collier. There she is. Women's 3. Just trying to figure out how to get onto that green volume. We haven't actually seen many of the climbers use what the route setters thought was the best method.
I have to say I like this problem very much. It seems a matter of this one move to the green volume, but we already know it is not a matter only of this move, yes?
Keep an eye top of your screen for the updated results. We have the results of climbers who have finished their attempts on all 4 boulders. Janja Garnbret currently leading the way in the women's, got 3 tops.
And we see Erne Kruder falling down, not for the first time from the last problem.
So Kokoro Fuji there, you see in 6th place. Almost certainly won't be enough. Remember, 6 climbers qualify for this evening's final.
And now among the men we have all problems done because of the young one, John stop on the third one, which is, by the way, the most important element of, so to say, judging route setters' work. Yes, if all problems are done, it means that the first point is okay, yeah?
So there we see the 2 American climbers, Megan and there's Sierra. To her right, Chloe Collier.
And well, for sure, they are not too easy for athletes.
Now the route setters seem to have done a pretty perfect job. Every boulder topped.
Every boulder topped, and the round is not easy. The round is difficult, we could even say.
It is a difficult round, yeah. And nobody yet with 4 tops. Shauna Coxey's just trying to stay cool. She's about 5 meters to our left, just in the area the athletes sit in before they go onto the stage and in between their attempts.
Well, but still she does not start with an umbrella. This is probably the only moment in China when she hasn't got an umbrella in her hand.
She's got the right idea. She's also shotgunned at a great spot right in front of the huge fan that keeps the athletes cool. Roland Rugens, men's 1. Slowly moving right. He looks in good shape this year, Roland. He looks as if he's slimmed down slightly from last year.
His task is much more difficult than these of the first athletes, since the sun is starting to shine. Maybe not yet on the wall, but very close to these volumes, which means they are getting more and more slippery.
Yeah, we've got a perspex roof on the wall here in Nanjing, and it lets quite a lot of light and therefore warmth through, and also the sun is creeping round and making its way across the mats. As you rightly say, it hasn't quite reached the foot of the boulders. It's not far off. I think we would just get away without any of the
Look at
climbers
Akia's
climbing the sun.
how-
So Kia, women's four.
How she is thinking what to do if she had figured out this hip on the volume, yes, she would have done it, I think, easily.
So we're on to our last climbers. Shauna Coxey and Tomoa Nasaki qualified first, climbed last in today's semi-final.
Remind me, please, did Young Won Chun do the first and the second?
Now you're taxing me. He did the first. We will check. As I say, sorry to repeat myself, we are having a lot of problems with scores
Well,
transferring
I'm sure
from
he
the judges
did.
to our system. I'm fairly sure he did the first. He certainly did the third, the only
But ladies
male
and
climber to do
gentlemen,
it so far.
ladies and gentlemen, what we have just seen on our screens was an information that we will have no flash on the women's first boulder in this semi-final.
Yes, because Shauna Coxey did not get it, and she's the last climber. So no one flash women's one. Really, really well set boulder, really, because it's been done by quite a few climbers, but it's not been flashed. It's made
Yeah,
them
but
think.
Such such boulders, slaps, and also tricky moves like tricky jumps, like the first move, the first man's move, often not done by some strong climbers and done by some weaker ones. So I call such moves democratic.
David Fernenberg on men's three, the democratic boulders.
Yeah, because it happens not only because these problems show perfectly some lacking elements of technique, yes, of the best competitors, but also they are much easier to be done if you are relaxed. Yeah, if you are happy because you are in semis, you do such a problem in your first or second try. But if you know that you fight for finals, and it may be that tries will matter, you are stressed. Now Shauna is stressed a little
Well, let's
bit.
have a look at Shauna. 2 minutes 20 to go. Absolutely dominated 2016. Made a pretty good start to 2017, a first and a second, but as yet,
This is
not to join
exactly a
women's one.
problem, because being a natural dominator, you try to dominate such a problem, but we have already figured out it's not a good way.
fantastic there. Keita Watabe, big jump, controlled it perfectly. This looks very promising, looks in control. Just needs to figure out how to use this very poor top volume. Not like that. I think the first technique better. You just use the heel hook to steady yourself. So Monica Recchi, which didn't get women's one, needs women's two for sure if she'd like to be in this evening's final. Drifting left. These holds, we've been mentioning, small but positive. They're going to be getting worse. Multiple climbers holding them.
And now she's
Temperature
trembling.
increasing.
It may be that it has become very hot there, you know.
You can see there, this top hold causing all sorts of problems on men's two. Pushing up against it seems to be working better than pulling on it. David Fernenberg, men's three. Can we see our second top of men's three?
It may be his last try. He has only 40 seconds left. He's still standing.
just about rescues that attempt. Does he? Yes, he does. He looked like he was about to lose his balance. Tries the other way. Oh, makes your knees ache watching.
It's fascinating in climbing to observe by body movement what happens in people's brains.
It's a good point you make. Sometimes you feel like you can read the thoughts of the climbers.
That he has just shown up by his body that he didn't know what to do. Every movement of his knees was expressing this. I don't know, maybe this, maybe that way. For him, no way.
So we didn't see if Shauna Coxey got the top on women's one, but either way, women's one is done. There's some previous scores, so those scores are correct for those climbers, if that makes sense. We don't have the most recent scores, but what we do have is scores of climbers who've completed their attempts on the 4 boulders, and Manuel Cornu and Yane Kruder looking at a pretty promising position. Ditto Ray Sugimoto, Jan Hoyer.
From 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we have men and women speed qualification. From 2:30 to 3:30, we have men and women speed finals.
I made a small trip around our tent, and I do already know that Shauna did not do the first problem, which means that the matter of her being in the final is really open right now.
Absolutely, and in Mumbai last year she missed the finals, 7th place, so, and it was hot in Mumbai, so we shall see. Early to be making predictions about whether or not she'll make the finals, but given how many women have done women's one, you think she might need it. Janja Garnbret with 3 tops today's semi-final. We shall see. Plenty of time for Shauna, but she could certainly use a top on the next couple of boulders.
But I'd like to say this, look that among women it is still possible to have 1, 2 or 3 such athletes that dominate the whole season or even several seasons in a row, yes? Among the men, now it's absolutely impossible. Last year, the first World Cup was in Meiringen, the second in Japan, and out of those in the men's final in Meiringen, no one was in the final in Japan just 2 weeks later.
Quite extraordinary. The men's competition is so open.
So now, because I remember such names many years ago. I don't know if you are not too young to know it. Daniel Dulac, you know Daniel Dulac?
Of course, yeah.
He was for many years a dominator, yes? And several other names, but just few years ago I remember a time of Kilian Fischuber, yes?
He was unstoppable.
He was unstoppable, but now we don't have. I don't say that these athletes are weaker. I say they are, more of them are strong enough, yes? And we have no people who are always in finals. I can tell you more. We have no people who are always in semis.
It's very true. Alexei Rubtsov not even here today in the semi-final.
And we talk of someone who was, well, who was defending Europe against Japan 1 week ago in Chongqing.
And you look at Rustam Gelmanov, no semis in 2017. Competition, the men's competition, the men's side of things is incredibly fierce. As you mentioned, there's 50 climbers really who could.
Yeah, about 50
who
climbers that
semis.
can make semis.
Also in the women's, I mean, Sierra Blair Coyle, we usually see her in the semis, but
And
she powered through yesterday in the qualifiers.
but eventually we have the proper beta.
This is how they think it should be done, but
Yeah,
Sierra
but
doesn't seem to think so.
You know, sometimes root sitters' ways of doing problems are much more difficult than these natural ones.
Let's have a look at Chloe Collier's way of doing women's 4. That's the bonus hole that she needs to sit on if she wants a top. Progress still to be made there. Megan Mascarenhas, also 5 tops in qualifying yesterday. World Cup winner, 2 World Cup wins to her name.
But it is significant that those women who were the best yesterday do not perform well today. Not a lot of them.
It seems that there could be conditions.
I think so. But on the other hand, Young Won Chan did not find conditions disturbing him.
It's very true. I guess it depends on the nature of the boulder. Also on the nature of the climber, if you're used to hot weather. And also some climbers naturally sweat more through their hands. It could be very tiny details at this level. Just how you respond to that heat. It's not just the fact it's getting hotter, it's how
Yeah,
you deal
we
with
all
it.
remember Adam Ondra with
With his bowl of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Ondra, of course, came out, I'm trying to remember which competition it was, with a bowl of water just to clean his hands. He was having problems with his skin at that stage. But
Adam Ondra is an example of a climber that observing him, it's obvious that he's not a regular competitor, yes, because he does plenty of very classical mistakes, yes. He hates slaps, yes, such volume runnings or something that can simply take the first place out of him. And he's one of a few who can simply climb so well that they are able to win a competition even if they don't know how to do all of these, moves from a catalog.
he can always find a way.
He can always find the way, and it is a way in terms of climbing, not in terms of competition.
I know what you mean. He's a straight-up climber. Unfortunately, he's not here on the Boulder World Cups this year. He kept his plans open last year. We may see him later on in the year or in some league competitions. But for now,
Well,
keep an eye on Keita Watabe. Men's 3. Still only seen one top on this boulder. That was Jong Won Chon earlier. Desperately hard finish. We've seen most of the climbers, I'd say a majority of the climbers, get their left hand to there, but getting 2 hands onto the top has proved much more difficult.
We are very close to the second top.
I think we're very close.
Right now, but well, if the left one counts, it was a top.
I think he just corrected his fingers there as well.
Well, I think
his short.
both counts. In fact, that they are regarded by judges as one and the same hold. Both these green flat top holds.
Stasha Higeo, we haven't seen too much of her today. Women's 4 proving problematic. She's kicking herself for something there.
I love the way she's touching her head while not knowing how to do a problem. She's one of these athletes that you with the whole, so to say, mind expressed by their body.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be very good at poker.
Ah,
Stasha, you know what she's thinking.
I know what you mean, but sometimes such people are very well aware of their body language and they can use it properly.
You can see how hard she's having to fight there, the grimace on her face when she hugs that volume. Just shake of the head, no.
I know exactly what is going on in her head right now. Shona Coxey, we saw her for a while on our screens, and she seems to be aware that it will be a hard task, maybe not very difficult, but hard task to be in the final. I suppose she is able to do 3rd and 4th.
Shall see, but Shona Coxey not looking the dominant force she has so often in the last 18 months. Here's Monica, women's 3. Tomoe Narasaki, we saw him there. A good to say. Didn't quite look 16 vintage best so far, but he did yesterday in the qualifiers. barely saw his brother. She was out earlier, and he caught a very brief glimpse of him. Monica Rett, she doesn't like women's 3. Easy enough start.
Maybe she loves the problem.
She just like more than 5 minutes to figure
I
it
did
out.
like a lot of routes I couldn't do. A lot of girls I couldn't date with.
So back out, Team America. Megan on women's 3, Sierra on women's 4. The crane shot pans up, and that's the coach's area on the right of your screen, and the judges right underneath the wall in the blue shirts.
Where exactly is Sierra from? Because Megan is from Colorado.
She is from Arizona, Sierra.
From Arizona.
So the heat, you would imagine, something she's pretty
Quite
used to.
close. The same part of the States.
Ish, yeah. Not too far off. Arizona, fiercely hot. I think this comes from close to Arizona. Of course, quite a dry heat there. She won't be used to this humidity. But the temperature's certainly not a problem. I remember chatting to her last year, towards the end of the year, and she said they'd had quite a few days in Arizona last summer that were in the mid-40s in Celsius, which my brain can't really compute. So yeah, heat not a problem, humidity might be.
Well, you know, you have a British brain, yes? If there is no rain for more than 2 days, it means that we have a very hot summer.
That's the best. I remember that summer when we had the 2 sunny days. That was the best summer I remember.
You know, in Poland it's usually so that if July is rainy, then August is full of sun, and if July is sunny, it means that in August we have a lot of rain. But 1 month always is too hot.
A problem not familiar to most British people. Megan Mascarenas hails from Colorado.
Probably the first orthodox way of doing this problem.
Yeah, and you could see there, it looked very neat. She looked very controlled. It doesn't mean she's going to get the top, but it made that move that seems to have proved to be the crux. Relatively straightforward. You could see in the background there, IFSC photographer Eddie. This is his 50th World Cup. Happy anniversary, Ed. And he does not capture the shot of Megan topping that boulder.
Oh, if he's really a good photographer, he has.
Yeah, I'm sure he captured one hand on it. Let's have a look. When did his finger press the shutter? So she looked in a good position here, Megan. Looked as if she just slightly missed the hold. Yeah, she's on the right of it. She needs
to be on the left of it.
Needs to be on the left to make room for the right hand.
But backing to what you said just a while ago about her controlling the position, this is something that distinguishes really good climbers from only average ones, that they use their feet really for holding, not standing. So you have an impression that you see them holding the wall using all 4 of their limbs. Yes.
Yeah, they can use the foot almost as an extra hand. They can actually grip with the foot, not just place
it. Pull by your foot. And she's one of those climbers who do it really well, and it is very observable that the whole body works as a whole, designed for holding the wall as strongly as possible.
Unusual character for such a competitive athlete as well, Megan. You struggle to get more than 2 words from her normally. She opens up a bit eventually, but she's very quiet. She just quietly gets on with her business.
Well, maybe she expresses herself by climbing rather than words.
Well, that's exactly it, yeah. And certainly worked very well for her.
And it makes, this is a similarity between competition and theatre, because here you express yourself but using not your own words, but those written by route shooters.
So many good analogies today, and we saw Eddie still won't get his shot of Megan topping, and time now a real factor. She'll have to, it looks like landed almost in a sitting position there. I hope no injury to the hip, but she was certainly clutching her hip. And Sergey Tapishko again, another climb we haven't seen a huge amount of in this semi-final.
But we had Sergey and Rugens together on the screens. It's very interesting because within the last 2 years, both of them did a big progress. I think of them usually together because they visit Warsaw alongside with Kipras Baltrūnas from Lithuania, who is not here in China this year.
He's not made the trip over here, Kipras.
But they visit Warsaw quite often. Usually, all three of them. Very funny group they are. We are still waiting for Kipras to join them in terms of climbing, but the Sergey and Roland did make a tremendous progress.
Yeah, we've seen Kipras in some semi-finals, but I know what you mean. He's perhaps one notch down right now from those guys.
Yes, but now Kipras is, one step behind, yeah?
One guy who's not one step behind is Tomoa Narasaki. He's looking ominously better with every competition that goes by, which is exactly what happened in 2016, and that's why he wears number 1, world champion, World Cup overall winner, Adidas Rockstars winner, you name it. Extraordinary 2016.
And he has a face movement like, samurais from Kurosawa films. It's nice to observe it, in such difficult situations, because his face is always so determined.
He always gives the impression that he's never really considered that he might fall off. His attention is always just upwards. It's always just the next move. He never really looks like he's doubting himself.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was a characteristic feature of Tomasz Oleksy, one of the route setters, that when falling down, he was so surprised.
Exactly.
He was almost angry that how was it possible?
Let's have a look. Shauna Coxey, will she fall? Will she top? Goes to the left hand, just about holds it. Well, we saw Megan do that. She hit the left-hand side of the hold and fell. Shauna hit the left-hand side of the hold, just about held it and shuffled the left-hand round to make room for the right.
But Shauna looks as if she really did want to take a cold shower, and probably she will do it. Not only, I think most of competitors will do it just after coming back to the hotel.
The competitor's got a nice long break. It's not sure what the current time is here. Look, 11:30, so they're not. The final doesn't start for 7 hours from now, so the climbers have got a good long break. There's some familiar faces. Udo Neumann there with the hair.
Yeah, he's very characteristic,
right.
And always with the camera.
You can't miss him. He's filming his athlete Monica Recchi. He's the head of the German bouldering team.
And it's very convenient, because if sometimes you need to find climbers in a crowd, you look for Udo. And you simply do it then.
You always know where the German athletes are, yeah. Just look for the hair. So, Tomoa moves so quickly, swapping. We saw climbers earlier gradually changing position on there. Tomoa dropping one knee, then the other.
He has magnificent eyes. Magnificent eyes.
So focused. That move was a one shot and you missed it. He as soon as that right foot missed the bonus, he couldn't recover. You can see he spilt. It looks like quite a lot of chalk there. I think the effect of it exacerbated by the sun. Meanwhile, went for Keita Watanabe. You can just make him out. Top here wouldn't go amiss. Not seen many tops on men's 4. Monica
Monica is quite tall, it should help her.
And at the end of this rotation, we're going to see the updated results. I hope they're updated. Apologies again for the slow speed of the results update. I don't understand such technical matters. So close from Samoa. So he's the last climber on men's 3. It will only see one top from Jongwon Chom.
Yeah, only one top. Pity because he was very close. He put a lot of effort into it. And for me, he simply deserved this top.
I think had those Gaston holds, those green holds, just been a couple of centimetres lower, we might see in 3 or 4
But
tops.
really, if it was a matter of justice, not a matter of competition, he would have this top.
So there we see it. Jan Garnbret currently leading the way. These scores look up to date to me. Jongwon Chon also leading the way. Yeah, these are pretty close to the up-to-date scores.
But
Just
look
need
at-
Samoa and Keita's results from men's 3 and Keita's on 4, but we're close. We're close to updated scores. The final already beginning to take shape. Jongwon Chon will be there, so will Manuel Cornu.
Well, but as for now, our prediction was good. 2 problems for the final.
I can't claim it was your prediction.
But take a look for a very interesting feature. Jongwon Chon has the best result. He has 2 tops, and he doesn't have even a bonus on the remaining 2 ones.
Let's have another look at that towards the end.
And Jania, who is the best among the women, did not do the 3rd one, which was done by the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th.
It's been a real spread of results. Pretty much perfect job from the route setters.
Yeah.
Their job made doubly hard by the massively changing conditions.
It's a very good job, and these problems differ.
Feedback was generally very positive.
Maybe
from the qualifiers.
women's 3rd and 4th are somehow similar in style, yes?
They both take it out of the shoulders. It's, fatigue really begins to kick in after 10 combined minutes on those 2 boulders. You can see as well Roland Rugens on the right in the red shirt. You can see the grey tape as well around that round volume on men's 4. That's just to stop the climbers using any of the edges of that volume. There's also a dimple on the bottom right. I don't know if you can quite make it out. Just below the 2 pieces of green tape, there's a really quite useful dimple in the volume that the route setters have filled in using tape so that the climbers can't use it. Megan tries again. It's so physical, that women's 4, especially when you've just come from women's 3. The wall very steep overall here in Nanjing.
But that's true, it's a very important element that they had to do the 4th one just 5 minutes after. Not a lot of them did the 3rd one, so usually after trying the 3rd one, which means they are already very tired, and it's a really physical start, because the rest is not so physical. If you have the bonus already, the rest is a matter of thinking. More than climbing, by the way. Roland Rugens is trying to control these poor footsteps.
Yeah, you can see the feet shaking. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Director. Just
But look how
cuts
funny it
perfectly.
is. Such a simple thing, yes? You need to provide some difficulties, and the only thing you have to do in a very simple situation, and it was simple, this start is not difficult. The matter is that you are scared, yes? You are not sure of these footsteps, and that's why you start to tremble, and when you tremble you don't stand properly, and you don't hold properly, and somehow, from somewhere, you have difficulties, even if the move itself is still very easy.
The route setters playing psychological games with the climbers.
Somehow, yes.
So Megan and
But in fact
Roland, 1 minute to go. You just heard the beat, perhaps.
But you know, being a route setter, after some time, you don't think in terms of psychology, you simply use your experience, yes? What to do? It's a little bit too easy, let's put up a footstep. It is a kind of psychology, maybe.
They're a sadistic bunch, route setters.
Sometimes, yes. You can be. On the World Cup you can be, because you have so many good climbers that you can be sure that someone will do it. So you are safe. And you have what you want twice. They are losing twice. Yes, judges are happy. The delegate congratulates you. You have twice.
So, Roland making good progress suddenly on men's 4, but the lunge for the top hole proves just too far. I think he's kicking himself slightly for going as quickly as he did. Maybe had a little more time to set himself than he thought. So no tops on men's or women's 4 by Roland or Megan, and this is our last 5 minutes of action in today's semi-final. Shauna Coxey, the purpley blue British top, and Tomoe Narasaki, Team Japan. You can see him there just checking out men's 4. No observation period, of course, during the semi-finals. In the finals, the athletes get 2 minutes to look at each boulder before the competition begins. In the semis, they come out cold. They haven't seen the boulders other than what they might have glimpsed in the corner of their eye whilst climbing on the others.
So what do you think? Because I do expect two tops, maybe not 2 flashes, but 2 tops from this last round of the semi-final.
Well, there's already a minute gone.
Some problem with starting position. I don't know what exactly happened.
He seems to accept it quickly, Tomoe.
We are unable to ask for a replay.
Keep an eye on the top of your screen, the results coming through, you see that. Yanya Garmret, so the top 5 already guaranteed their places. If these 2 climbers are not in them, let's have a look. We have not been having updated scores. Shauna Cox is already in the top 6, so the women's final is decided. Jan Hoyer, the man who will be nervously watching this, currently sitting in 6th. Let's see if we can find out what Tomoe's results are. We'll keep an eye. There's Tomoe.
Yeah, and as for now, it seems to be that the division is very simple. 2 tops you are in. Less than 2 tops. Thank you.
But Jan Hoyer could be knocked out with 2 tops, because he's on 2 tops, 15 attempts.
15.
15.
I thought 5. I didn't see this one. Or maybe simply I couldn't believe in it.
We'll get the results back for you to confirm. I'm pretty sure it was 2 tops in 15 attempts.
Shauna, think. Come on, Shauna.
She will be in the final tonight. She doesn't need to worry. She's currently sitting in 4th. She may not know that. I suspect she doesn't, because she's not had as many tops as she's used to in today's competition. So if she isn't up to date with the score, which given that we aren't, she probably isn't either.
Well, now she's trying to find the only remaining place without sun. It is just under the roof.
The timing couldn't have been much better, to be honest. The wall just about still in the shade, but there's not much space to stand where you're not in the sun. Tomoe, meanwhile.
So you're going to tell me that exactly now Jan Hoyer is being outed from the final of Nanjing World Cup 2017, yes?
I'm fairly sure it was 2 tops in 15 attempts. We shall confirm. If it was 5, I think Tomoe used too many. We'll let you know. Hopefully we'll get the results back soon. Let's have another look at it.
I really do like this picture of sitting Shauna, because it's just as if they were in some climbing spots, you know, somewhere at rocks. Now she has stood up. She's looking at the wall. Now we can focus on one thing, on one climber. It's a rare occasion in semi-finals. Shauna Coxey alone on the wall right now.
Let's just have a quick look at these results as they come through. I'm sure. Keep an eye. Number 4, Yane Kruder. So 5, Rei Sugimoto. He's safely through. Jan Hoyer currently showing a 6th. Yes, 2 tops in 15 attempts.
2 tops in 15, you were right. So it means that we have Tomoe Narasaki instead of Jan Hoyer.
When Tomoe's score is updated, you can see him there, number 8, 1 top in 3 attempts. That will become 2 tops in 7 or 8. Either way, it'll be less than 15. So he'll be through. Jan Hoyer will be out. Jan Hoyer knocked out.
And I'll tell you something from my competition experience, unofficially, but still online. I suppose that Shona somehow did receive, maybe not an information, maybe a suggestion that it is not necessary to climb another 30 seconds.
I agree. Yes, she
I think so.
seemed to understand that she didn't need to climb again. And as predicted, it was around 2 tops to make it through. Jan Hoyer narrowly missed it out. He had the 2 tops, but attempts counted against him. So 7 climbers in the male competition with 2 tops. 6 of them go through to the final. Amazing stuff from Tomoa right at the end.
Yeah, but generally I have to say that it was a very interesting semi-final.
It was a superb semi-final. Perfect work from the route setters. Every boulder topped, albeit men's 3 only got 1 top. And I think women's 4, 2 tops. We'll
2
confirm.
tops on women's 4, yes.
Just to let you know, we are still waiting for the results to come through. We've been having all
Are
sorts
you
of
sure
problems
2
with the
tops on women's 4th, not only 1?
I'm not sure, no. But we certainly had a top
Because
of
I
every
remember
boulder.
only one situation of women sitting on a volume.
Me too. Okay, I've just been told we have got the women's results. Check back. Let's have a look. So there we
full results.
There we have it. So Janja Garnbret, 3 tops. She didn't look very happy with her performance, but she should have been. She's the only woman with 3 tops. Elsewhere, 2
Well,
tops
she's
was
a
enough.
real climber. She wanted to do the 3rd one probably.
2 tops for Meikataki and Miho Nanaka on both boulders, 1 and 3 for both of them. Shauna Coxey, just a 1 top, sees her through, but it was a flash. Aya Ono and Jane Kim also through. Be fascinated to see Jane Kim climb. Katja Kadic, Anastasia Petra Klingler and Stasha Gale also got the top, but it was the attempts that counted. So that is your top 6: Janja Garnbret, Meikataki, Miho Nanaka, Shauna Coxey, Aya Ono and Jane Kim. And further down the women's order,
Michaela Tracy, the
Yeah.
last one with tops.
Michaela Tracy, the last one with the top, 11th
With her
place.
top. 12 tries.
12 tries it took her,
Yeah.
but she got there. We're still waiting for the men's results, so we can take our time to look at these. Fanny Gibert, I feel like she's got a final in her this year, but she hasn't quite managed it so far. Kia Noguchi, 13th place. I said it would be a big surprise if she doesn't make the final, and she doesn't. Chloe Collier, Monica Recchi, Solsar, names.
Evgenia Kazbekova.
Yeah, Evgenia. Many names there you might expect to see higher up or making finals. Sierra Blair Coyle and Megan Mascarenas couldn't quite back up their performance yesterday. And we'll very
So we
shortly
have
the men's results.
unexpected, after yesterday's qualifiers, we have very unexpected American ending of this women's semi-final.
Yeah, Megan Mascarenas, she hasn't had a great start to the season, and then she came yesterday. She looked amazing in qualifiers, and then seems to lose that form overnight. Sierra as well, 5 tops yesterday. But one thing I'm really looking forward to, Jane Kim in a boulder final.
Yeah.
So I believe we've got the men's results as well for you now. So here we go. Updated, we have Keita Watabe. So he had 3 tops, the only man with 3 tops, no joy in the 4th. Jongwon Chon, we saw him topping men's 3, so it was 2 tops on men's 3, excuse me, I thought it was. Manuel Kornu in 3rd place, he'll be joined in the final by Yunei Krude. Rei Sugimoto and Tomoa Narasaki sneaks in ahead of Jan Hoyer in 7th place. His compatriot David Fernenberg in 8th, to Sakuru Hori and Vadim Timonov round out the top 10. And we see there 11th place is the bottom half of today's semi-final in the men. Kokoro Fuji, Meiichi Narasaki. We didn't see much of him. He topped number 1. He was the lowest placed climber with a top. No tops for Orlan Murugan's Nathan Phillips. Kai Harada, Tyler Lamb and Sean McCall back in the semi-finals. And Sergei Topishko and Alphonse Dornau rounding up the top 20.
Attention please, attention please. Official result.
So that's all from us here in the commentary box, and that's the end of a superb semi-final. Every boulder topped, 12 incredibly strong climbers through to this evening's final, which will get started at 6:30 p.m. local time. We will see them, but stay tuned, because coming up we've got the highlights of today's action.
But the standard...
Attention please, attention please. Official result for men and women. Speed semi-final is not published. Attention please, attention please. Shuttle bus to your official hotel start at 12, 13, 15. Shuttle bus go back to official hotel start at 12, 15. 通知12点15分，大巴车把大家送回到我们官方酒店。Shuttle bus 12:15 to the official hotel. Thank you. team leaders